Williams. I'm here in Madison, the capital of Wisconsin. This is one of the key battleground states in this U.S. presidential election. And of course, we still wait to find out what will the result be here in this state. It was a state that was surprisingly won by President Trump 4 years ago, narrowly beating Hillary Clinton by less than 23,000 votes. And of course, we now watch very closely to see what happens here. Just want to give you a bit, we'll go into more of that later. I just want to give you a bit more of an idea as to what's going on here now as we approach, 11 o'clock here, local time in the evening. We're still waiting for these results. There's some speeches happening here outside this Capitol building here, the state Capitol building here. To find out more about what this is about, because it is very quiet elsewhere. We'll take a little walk around to take a look at that a little later, but this is really the key focal point. To find out what this is about, just want to bring in Rebecca here. Hey Rebecca, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. So Rebecca, this is all part of the Sunrise movement, part of here from Madison. Just explain a little bit about what this is all about.
Yeah, so we're here basically just making sure that every single vote is counted. That is becoming particularly really important. We know that vote totals in Wisconsin won't be coming until probably earliest 4 a.m., 7 a.m. and that same thing is looking true Pennsylvania and Michigan probably won't even know for a few days. So are here to say the United States is a democracy and we're not going to declare victory for any president until every single vote is counted.
Because that's really the real concern here, isn't it? There's been the real concern in the build-up. I know President Trump has been talking about voter fraud, but it's a real concern that some of the votes will be stopped. There was even the potential, wasn't there, of having the counting process here in Wisconsin extended by a few days, and that was stopped by the U.S. Supreme Court. How concerned are you, though, that the votes that have been put in place at 8 o'clock local time, that everyone will still be counted?
Yeah, I think I feel a lot of confidence in I think it's a pretty shared American value that we believe in democracy and believe in counting every single vote, and that we are strong enough to stand up and say we're not going to accept a winner until every single vote has been counted, and are ready to fight for that.
Obviously, it's a lot seemingly closer than what some people had predicted, this election race. What have you made of that as a whole?
Yeah, I gotta be super honest, I didn't look at polls before this. I think I had poll trauma from 2016 of I just don't trust them. So I can't say this is any different than I necessarily expected. I think it was expecting a close race and come in with a ton of expectations. So I think my answer is I personally have not been listening to polls because I think But
what are your hopes from this election? What do you hope to see?
Yeah, I do obviously hope to see Donald Trump leaving office. I have my future's at stake. We can't get any federal action on climate change. We also think we'll see the continued rise of white supremacy, and that's literally killing people. And I obviously don't want Donald Trump to continue to be president, but I'm here to say that's not the case yet. We're here to count every single vote and see what happens.
In terms of, obviously when I think of the Sunrise as a whole, I'm thinking about the environment. What have you made of that in terms of how it's played out in this election? Because it's seemingly, from some people's perspectives, we're still talking about fracking and other things, and we're not necessarily talking about some other elements. What are your thoughts on that? And whoever is the president, what do you want to see?
Yeah, I think I want to see much more aggressive action on climate on all levels of government, leading to seriously cutting our emissions, but also seeing that climate change is a unifying issue across voters. It's an issue of young voters, also among middle-class people. We really see it across the board. People care about climate change and taking action on it. So whoever's elected, would love to see federal, state, local action on it.
Obviously President Trump pulled out of the Paris agreement. If he is elected for another 4 years, that would seemingly be the end of that, because obviously there was that 4-year period before that would then be triggered. How much of a concern would that be? when I've been speaking to a lot of environmentalists, the Paris Agreement, for them, a lot of people, doesn't even go far enough, let alone pulling out of it. What does that, for you, say?
Yeah, I mean, I think if Trump is reelected, like, there isn't much of a path for federal action on climate change in the United States, and then it turns to state level. But I also think from an organizer perspective, like, saw a second Trump term as like, I don't totally know what we do there, and we'll like take some time to take care of the people around me and like regroup and figure out what comes next.
And just finally, I mean, it's obviously very quiet now. I guess we're still waiting for a lot of the results. Is there a fear though that this could spiral? That the tensions are running high, not just here but across America. What are your thoughts in terms of that, regardless of whether one side wins or the other?
Yeah, I think don't have particular fears. We're committed to remaining nonviolent and ensuring that every single vote is counted. And I think shouldn't count any I think I'm really hesitant to say who's going to win because we're still waiting, and I think we'll see how it plays out. But yeah.
Okay. No, that's cool. Listen, thank you so much. As far as the rest of tonight is concerned, you're not really planning to do too much else.
No,
really
we're planning on closing up. People are heading out right now. Actually,
Okay.
Just caught the end of us.
Well, glad we managed to catch you.
Yeah,
thank you
totally.
so much. Thanks for your thoughts. Thank you. That was great.
Have a nice night.
You too. Thank you. All right. As I tuck this away, I just want Andreas to just point the camera down that way down the road. You can see that there is some cars here that have blocked off this element of the of this particular protest from sunrise. But you can see that there's a couple of police cars here. But just on the whole, it is pretty quiet. You can pan around. We can see a few people just milling around here, waiting to see what the results will be. We understand that the final results here in Wisconsin will take a good few hours or so from now to come in. We are obviously seeing what results come through. We can maybe take a bit of a walk if we're good for that, and just see what we kind of see, what you're fitting there. So as I said, we've had a bit of a gathering of people, but a couple of handful of people here. What you're fitting there. We've got a couple of media crews here as well, but it's as you can see, it's all pretty quiet. There were two election polls down this way a little earlier. People here in Wisconsin have been voting throughout the day on election day, but we haven't seen the queues on election day previously that we've seen in Wisconsin, and a lot of that has been because of we go down, just watch your footing there, Andreas. We haven't seen the queues of other election days in Wisconsin simply because also 1.9 million people voted here earlier before election day, and that meant that really there hasn't been the squeeze at the polls that we would have otherwise expected. As we head down the street towards, there's a couple of election polling stations there, but again, they've now just closed a couple of hours ago. But we'll just kind of give you a sense. There's a lot of media crews down this way as well as we wander through. You can see a lot of the shops and businesses here. They're all boarded up. We've been told that a lot of those shops and businesses did board up previously. Of course, there's been a lot of social unrest over the last few months across America, but here in Wisconsin especially, of course, Jacob Blake, the African American, was shot multiple times by a white police officer in Kenosha, Wisconsin. That was back in August, and that has brought a lot of social unrest, rioting and protests in multiple cities, including here in Madison, and that saw a lot of these buildings boarded up. We did see other buildings also being boarded up yesterday as well, ahead of election day. But you can see it's very quiet. But business is concerned. It might be that we might, in the next few days, see an escalation of tensions, depending either which way that this election result will go, both on a national level and on a local state level as well. This over here on the left, that was one of the voting houses that one of the polling stations that was collecting votes. It was the further one down the road here, and as I say, a lot of the polling workers outside, very much with little to do. Most people decided early who they were going to vote for, and they made their choices. We'll take a little further on walk down past here. We'll just wait to make sure we can cross safely here. I think we can pretty much go. And as we walk down here, I'll continue to tell you a few extra things about Wisconsin and just how important this is. There are 10 electoral college votes up for grabs in Wisconsin. And President Trump, as we were talking in that interview a short while ago, President Trump surprised everybody 4 years ago by winning here, becoming the first Republican to win in Wisconsin since Ronald Reagan in 1984. So it was a bit of a surprise, and that victory here, as well as in Michigan, really propelled him to victory 4 years ago. Now, of course, with all of those mail-in ballots, as well as absentee in-person ballots that were cast ahead of Election Day, that's going to take significant time to count those ballots. Less than 1% separated Trump and Hillary Clinton 4 years ago, around 23,000 votes. And yet these ballots that are being cast, 1.9 million, that's why it could be such a close race here. Until we get all of those ballots in, we're really not going to know who has won here in Wisconsin. And as I say, a key state for both the former Vice President Joe Biden as well as President Trump. And so we wait to see what happens. Now, one element, as we were talking back there about the unrest, the social unrest and the racial tension that's existed here in Wisconsin, 4 years ago, there was a huge drop-off in African-American voters in Wisconsin. That left, it was around 73% of the African-American electoral vote during Obama victories in 2008 and 2012. Around 73% of that African-American eligible voters voted in those elections. But in 2016, with Hillary Clinton, that dropped to 55%. And I go back again to that small amount of difference, less than 23,000 votes between Hillary Clinton winning and losing to Donald Trump. And that just underlines just how important that vote is. Now, I've been speaking to various people, including an organization called Souls to the Polls, that really is about making sure, motivating that African-American vote. And they're confident that that won't be the case this time round. And so you have a city like Milwaukee, for example, here in Wisconsin. They're confident that the large African-American communities there this time will be out in force and will make their votes heard. But of course, we wait to see whether that will be the case. Will this be a close race? It certainly looks like it's shaping up to be that way. And will we see what we've seen in a couple of other states where there's an early leader and that gets overhauled? And we might see that here. We've been told to expect that here this time as well. We can see some media further down here as we finish off this live for you. You can see there's one media crew here. There was a couple of others here a little earlier as well, waiting for further live hits through the evening as we get to find out what the picture of this election will turn out to be. And of course, we've got this beautiful building behind us as we round off this Facebook Live. So we wait to see. We wait to see what happens here in Wisconsin. It's an important vote. It's an important state. And we're seeing very similar close battles across these battleground states. Ohio was very close. Seemingly President Trump is likely to take Ohio. But Michigan, here in Wisconsin, and of course Pennsylvania, all across this Midwest area, very much in play, will prove to be really where the White House will be won and lost over the course of the next day and possibly until Friday. We've been told we must be patient here. They are counting. They will have an accurate count, we're told, but it won't be as quick as some people, including President Trump, had wanted. And we're expecting that to be the case certainly as well in Pennsylvania, where they have an extra 3 days in which to count the ballots there, the mail-in ballots and others as well. So certainly it's going to be an interesting few days or so, certainly a few hours or so here and days or so across these battleground states. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll, of course, keep you updated across CGTN, across our network, to tell you all that's happening here in this US presidential race. I'll leave you with this beautiful picture of the Wisconsin State Building, the Capitol Building. It really is a fabulous building to behold here in Wisconsin. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.